Hello everyone, today I'm going to introduce you about a kind of virus called Filovirus. The word is in Latin, which stands for fruit virus. Well, Filovirus includes a lot of viruses, and every of these viruses are dangerous for people and every kind of animal, even cats and dogs. So this is very important. First, let's talk to you about Marburg. Marburg first erupted. Well, its full name is Victoria Island Marburg Filovirus, but I still like to call it Marburg of its original name. Marburg first exploded in a city called Marburg in Germany. It infected 31 people, and through a company called Berlin Works. It exploded there in 1967, killing 8 of the 31 people. The death rate of Marburg turned out to be 1 in 4, which even yellow fever, which is considered a highly lethal disease, kills 1 in 20 people when they get to a hospital. But Marburg kills 1 in 4, even if you got to a hospital. Because first, let's describe Marburg that erupted in a Frenchman who will be called Charlie Smollett. That's why I saw in the book. When he came to Kidam Cave, a bat cave in Kenya, and he got Marburg in just 8 days. Well, every virus has an incubation time, just like COVID-19, of course. Consider a certain virus called Nipah. Nipah is a type of disease that causes the personality changes and liquefaction of the brain. It's lethal to humans and to almost every kind of animal. But never mind, this is not a danger because it's hard to get it. Okay, so Charlie Smollett got the disease after his visit into Kidam Cave in New Year 1980. Okay, then after a few days, he got so sick that his colleagues paid a visit to there. And when he found that he was not behaving well, they sent him to the best hospital in East Africa called Nebari Hospital. At least that's what I think it is. It might even be different. If you want to know the wool epidemic, I'd read either the hot zone or the red zone. Both are interesting. Okay, this is the outbreak of 1980, but let's continue. But to deepen our knowledge of those diseases, those filovirus, we need to turn back to an epidemic in 1976, which Ebola Sudan exploded, and also Ebola Zaire. Ebola Zaire is basically Ebola Congo, because Zaire is basically Congo, but it changed its name later on. So it is still called Ebola Zaire and Ebola Sudan. Let's talk about Ebola Sudan. First, Ebola Sudan erupted in someone who's called Mr. UG, who probably got infected for scratching his hair after touching something like a mouse there. Then, actually, it doesn't spread that easily, but there are 6 types of Ebola now. Let's say it. Number 1 is of course Ebola. Let's talk about sequence of when they are discovered. First is Ebola Sudan, of course. The second, Ebola Zaire. The third, Ebola. Well, you see, there are a lot of kinds of Ebola, and although I stuck on it, but let's continue. It includes Ebola Reston. Also, Ebola Reston is named Reston because it's discovered near Reston, near Washington, D.C. We probably discovered it because it nuked the monkey house there. It killed all the monkeys because I don't think any monkey has ever survived Ebola without giving some medicine or something. Actually, there's something that saves Ebola, but we aren't going to talk about it now. Then it also includes Thai forest Ebola, Winnebago Ebola, Somali Ebola. So I think these are 6 types of Ebola. Remember, Ebola Zaire is the worst of 6 Ebolas. Ebola Zaire kills 88% of all the victims, but usually it only kills 60 to 70% of everyone infected with it. So don't be worried, but it actually exploded in different places over the years. Okay, and Rust Ebola is the best of the Ebolas because it hasn't killed anyone ever since it's been discovered. Although 4 men got sick, it's closely related to Ebola Zaire, though it spreads easily, but it's not as bad as Ebola Zaire, though it's still dangerous. You never know what may happen because it might mutate and change. Maybe because it has been used to monkeys, it could be. So be careful. Don't be afraid of Ebola Rust. And they're so similar, they're hard to tell apart. Okay, then let's talk about older Filovirus. It includes the Rave Filovirus, which is isolated from the blood of a boy who died of Rave. Called Pete, who will be called by Peter Cardinal. He's a Danish boy, of course. In the summer holidays, he went to Kenya with his parents and sister. And he probably went to Kidam Cave and got himself infected, just like Charlie Smollett. And that was in 1987. It killed him. Actually, he got to Navarre Hospital just like Charlie Smollett. But at first he thought it was probably Marburg, but it was wrong. It was actually Rave, because only one person has gotten Rave, and that was Peter Cardinal. So how could they know it was Rave and not Marburg? Okay, and if you get Rave, you'll have these symptoms. First, bleeding and under the skin. This is the last phase. Usually, it kills a lot of people, but you don't have to be concerned. It only breaks down in Africa and sometimes in North America, but this is only laboratory mistakes. So don't be too worried about it. Okay? So it travels through contact through skin and blood. And also droplets of blood, okay. It's just like HIV and AIDS. But Ebola destroys the immune system in 7 to 10 days, while AIDS destroys a human's immune system in 7 to 10 years. So Ebola does what AIDS does in 10 days rather than 10 years. So as you can see, Ebola is much, much worse than AIDS, okay? So anyway, some older Filovirus are like this. It causes the multiple body functions to deceive. Like it causes spots in the brain to liquefy. Well, and it also includes the liquefaction of the liver a few days before you die, and the dying of your intestines, and also the death of your stomach. And you will bleed from the intestines too. This will be when you have crashed and bled out. It also happened to Charlie Smollett. You have extreme emulation. When you have that, an eyedropper of your blood can easily contain 100 million copies of the virus. So be careful. And in the 1976 outbreak, it didn't kill much people because people learned the ways and a rule called the ancient rule. You just burned all the corpses after the living, the surviving and escaped and etc. And actually, this isn't lethal. You just have a high chance of dying, so don't be too worried if you get it. And anyway, there's also a way to treat it, so be careful. But still be careful. This drug is very, very expensive and just developed recently in 2014. But let's talk about the crisis of 2014 later. Okay, then let's continue. After 1976 outbreak, it rained again in Sudan in 1979, but luckily it didn't kill much people. However, it's in civil war, so it's hard to get medical teams to get there. But they got a lot of blood storms and etc. Okay, let's talk back to a crisis of 1980. Then Charlie Smollett threw up black vomit, which is extreme emulation, of course, because the black vomit contains a lot of virus mixed with blood, and it rained down Dr. Shem Masuk, a doctor who tried to save him. Luckily, Dr. Shem Masuk didn't die, but we'll go to that part later. Most people thought it was because of some gallstones, but he didn't. And luckily, no one in the hospital got any Marburg except Dr. Shem Masuk. And anyway, he survived. Mostly, probably because he was just lucky and well liked, so he got the best treatment. So let's go to the next crisis, the crisis of 2014. What happened in Western Africa? Let's go into Western Africa. The Kissi tribe, which lived in Guinea, Libya, and Sierra Leone, are all spread out. But it all started around Sierra Leone or Guinea in 2014. In 2014, in December. First, a woman took her child, Emil, to the washing pool. Well, he was probably bitten by a bat fly and came down with diarrhea. The diarrhea turned into black liquid and he died at Christmas Eve. A week after Emil died, his sister also died. Then his mother died soon after. Also, his grandmother died soon after. So it became a chain of effects. But the real effect hadn't started. But let's go to Kanema, a small city in Sierra Leone first. Kanema was a small city which housed a hospital called Kanema Government Hospital. The Kanema Government Hospital was the only ward in Sierra Leone which of course had a Lassa ward. Lassa was kind of disease that had some of the symptoms like Ebola, like bleeding into your eyes, leaking of blood, and death of the mother, death of the baby. They all have the same effects. But the problem is Ebola is much, much more lethal than Lassa. So let's talk about some names. First, let's talk about Kumar S. Khan. He was a doctor who got into Kanema in 2004 when he was 29. In 2014, he was 39. Okay, then First, let's say what happened before he became a doctor. First, actually, the hospital had another doctor called Dr. Conte, but he accidentally stabbed himself with a bloody needle and he didn't even notice it. He died days later, probably because he died of Lassa. That was the problem, and he died, so I'm sorry to say about that, but anyway, without him, if he was still there, he would probably hadn't made it through Ebola. And anyway, Kumar Khan also didn't make it through. Okay, in a nutshell, let's say that, and let's continue. Kumar Khan first, of course, came to a doctor and became friends with many American colleagues like Pardis Sabeti and many others. And he also got a few people from other places to work with him because in case of an Ebola outbreak. Actually, he got them because he was afraid of Ebola hitting his hospital. So it was a good thing. Pardis Sabeti raised $600,000 to buy a PCR machine, which can detect some kind of disease. So after that, a few people came there. Actually, these are the real names, which are called Nadia Fouquier and Lena M. Moses. Both of them will play an important role in the story after that. After that, well, it spread in Guinea and also in Libya, but at first it didn't seem to do much damage. And Humar S. Khan's deputy, called Michael Baki, went to the jungles to try to find Ebola patients. But the people there, the Kissi villagers, didn't believe of Ebola. They denied it as just a snake going around. And it all spread when a faith healer got a disease, and over 200 people got it. And that was the Makona strain, which killed Kumar Khan and infected many people. The one that got into the United States to Lagos. That was the most important time. And 2 strains of virus moved out and through Sierra Leone, but only Makona strain did tremendous damage. That was what we are going to focus about, the Makona strain. After that, it just spread over Guinea, Libya, and Sierra Leone. After days, a clinic got 9 Ebola patients and they escaped. So they spread the virus even more openly. And that's what happened. They spread the disease over Sierra Leone. So they spread it to Kanema and actually, by that time there were 413 cases of gotten Ebola cases in Guinea, and 314 have died. Well, that's a problem. That's just me calculating out it. So if I'm not correct, you can correct me later. And then Sierra Leone, well, I forgot, but it's still a lot more than 100. The case fatality of the virus is 59% to 60%. So it swept through Kanema. So many patients went to the hospital. But do you know how the medical staff got the disease? They got it from each other. First, an ambulance driver, a Kissi driver, which went to a friend's house without wearing PPE, a kind of medical gear from getting any disease, okay? So he got it and went to hospital. Then a nurse, who will be called Lucy May Kidford, she was pregnant and she's born a deceased child, a dead child, which is stillborn. Anyway, Ebola type typically kills a baby and its own mother. But sometimes it survives, but usually it doesn't survive. 99.99%. No baby ever survived in Lassa or Ebola. So she also died, and the liquid, the blood that spread for Lucy, spread through 3 nurses. And there's another nurse we are going to talk about, which is called Auntie. Auntie had delivered many people to their birth, so it was very important as she lay dying in July. The death of Lucy May is July 3rd. She died sadly. Well, I think it's bad for her to die because she could have done a lot more than just die in the Ebola epidemic. Her brother Yilla also got a disease and also jumped to many more people, like a nurse called Alex, and so on. And it reached Kumakan. But because of Lucy May, not because of patients. Anyway, the Ebola ward was a mess. It was full of patients. It officially had 70 beds, but there were over 40 patients there. And so this is not the end. Let's continue. So let's talk about the medicine of Ebola. There are a few types of medicine for Ebola, but I think the best one is called Zamap. Let's talk about a patient called Kim Brantley and Nancy Riball. They both got Ebola, probably from somebody else. Then they were given Zamap. And Kim Brantley, he reached from fatal levels to a mild fever in just 15 minutes. So Zamap really works. Because actually, there was an experiment called the WOW experiment because it has saved 18 monkeys. All of them have survived, and all of them had been given with super lethal doses of Ebola, and they survived. That was a miracle. But sadly, Zamap doesn't work that well in humans. It kills about 1 in every 30 patients who gets it. But luckily, that's not a bad number because some people might not be used to Zamap. So, never mind. At least it saves most of people. There's another type of medicine which is even worse. It kills 1 and then it kills 2 and 3. That is, it kills 66% of its people because it never helped them. Anyway, I don't want to make a criticization, but maybe things have changed since 2014. Okay, then the epidemic ended with Humor S. Khan dead. Luckily, Nadia Bokiye and Lee Moses remained alive and they went home peacefully. But remember, from the Ebola outbreak, please store a month of food in your house because if a disease, after COVID-19, there might be another disease hits the world again. We need to be careful of that. Remember Nipah has a medicine for it, but so you don't have to be that afraid. Sadly, the medicine is in the United States, so you need to talk to your Americans, okay? So after the crisis of 2014, there was another crisis in 2019 in the Eastern Democratic of Congo, which we call as Zaire. It has killed hundreds of people in 2019. Well, that book about red zones written in 2019. I think I recommend you to read it. And the hot zone is written in 1994. It includes events from 1967 to 1993. And remember, the author is called Richard Preston, okay? And be careful of Ebola. It might occur anywhere. It might mutate, become even better. But Ebola will probably remain a white virus. A white virus is one that transmits through the liquid humors of body. But if you breathe it, you'll still get a fatal infection. Actually, if you get just one particle in your body, It will kill you. Yes, it is. It will be lethal. We are not sure what the lethal dose of Ebola is, but it sure is small. Probably as small as milligrams, okay? So be careful. Okay, so remember, be careful of Ebola. Always wear a mask. And never ever expose any cuts to any blood, okay? Or you might get AIDS or HIV or hepatitis B or hepatitis A this way, okay? So I think this is the end of my video. Goodbye!